Hey everyone, welcome back to Alpha Insights. I'm Tony, glad you're with us.
And I'm James. We've got a busy episode today. A big public health shift, some biotech M&A and data, plus AI showing up in healthcare in a big way.
Let's start with the headline that landed overnight. The CDC reportedly cut the recommended childhood vaccine schedule from 17 shots to 11. That alone is reshaping risk and the conversation around vaccine makers.
It's a huge policy move, especially because reports say it happened outside the agency's typical review process. That raises immediate political and regulatory questions. And for investors, it means short-term volatility in vaccine stocks and the companies that support the pediatric supply chain.
Right. Less recommendation can mean fewer kids getting vaccinated, and public health experts worry about more hospitalizations from diseases we had largely under control. For companies, that could change demand patterns for pediatric vaccines and things like cold chain logistics.
And don't forget the reputational angle. Congressional hearings or extra scrutiny from the Department of Health and Human Services could make messaging around vaccines messy for a while. That uncertainty is the kind of thing traders hate.
Exactly. Short-term noise, but potentially longer-term consequences if uptake drops. Okay, switching gears, biotech deal-making, Amgen agreed to acquire Dark Blue for up to about $840 million for a protein degrader aimed at two proteins linked to some cases of acute myeloid leukemia.
That's a great example of how big pharma is paying for novel modalities. Protein degraders are a hot technology, and Amgen's move broadens its oncology toolkit. For investors, the questions will be around the integration timeline and when we might see clinical milestones.
Meanwhile, Alamis, their phase 3 results for a TYK2 oral treatment in psoriasis, sent the stock more than doubling. Those data suggest the drug could compete well against other emerging orals from bigger drug makers like Takeda and Johnson & Johnson.
That result reshapes expectations for the crowded oral psoriasis market. If Alumis's candidate reaches the market with strong efficacy and safety, it could pressure margins for incumbents and force pricing and access debates.
So, between the Amgen deal and Alumis's data, we're seeing investor appetite for both novel modalities and actual clinical wins. One is M&A to buy future potential. The other is clinical proof changing competitive dynamics now.
Exactly. And those are different ways the market re-rates companies. Deal multiples get paid to secure technology, and clinical readouts can reprice whole therapeutic classes almost overnight.
On a different frontier, OpenAI says roughly 40 million people use ChatGPT daily, and users ask about 1.5 to 2 million health insurance questions each week. That's a lot of consumer demand for AI in healthcare navigation.
That stat is meaningful. It points to rising adoption of AI for administrative tasks, everything from finding a provider to understanding coverage. Companies that provide digital health navigation, telehealth platforms, or administrative automation could benefit.
It's also a regulatory story. More consumer-facing AI in health could invite privacy scrutiny and guidance on what these tools can and can't do. Investors should watch for regulatory moves that might affect vendors relying on large language models.
And another structural trend, regional consolidation. RWJ Barnabas Health is moving to acquire Englewood Health, one of the last independent hospitals in New Jersey. That continues the pattern of hospital systems consolidating market share.
Consolidation changes, referral flows, local payer contracts, and pricing leverage. For investors, that matters for regional health systems, insurers, and outpatient chains. M&A changes where patients go and who gets paid what.
So where should listeners keep their eyes? First, regulatory and political follow-up on the CDC decision, statements from HHS, advisory committees, and any congressional hearings. That will drive near-term sentiment.
Second, watch company commentary. Vaccine makers and distributors could flag demand changes in their quarterly calls. For biotech, look for follow-up data and filings from Alamis, and competitors, and listen to Amgen's updates on Dark Blue integration and milestones.
And don't forget AI. If regulators step in or guidelines change for consumer-facing AI in healthcare, that could ripple through digital health stocks and vendors that partner with big AI providers.
Quick risks to keep in mind. Vaccine uptake could fall and increase disease risk. Clinical setbacks are always possible for Alumis or Dark Blue assets, and regulatory pushback on AI could slow adoption.
All good points. To sum up, Big policy news with the CDC trim that creates short-term volatility and long-term public health questions, strong biotech signals from Alumis and Amgen showing both clinical and M&A momentum, and rapid growth of AI use in health that could change how consumers navigate the system.
Absolutely. Those are the headlines. Investors should file away and watch for follow-up. Thanks for listening.
We'll keep tracking these stories. See you next time on Alpha Insights.